Hello, my name is John Svek. Welcome to this All 24 video. Today, Coach Waterman and I are joined by a special guest, Coach Darryl Wheeler, who is the kicking coach at Western University. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
Thank you very much. Excited to
Coach,
be here.
so we're going to talk some field goal kicking. So do you have some general comments on this skill to get us started here?
Yes, I think the big thing that I go over with my kickers is context, preparation, and putting themselves in whether it's practice in the games in manageable situations. So many kids are just putting, their wizard holder out at 70, 80 yards, a nice hot sun, taking 20 attempts and just putting up on YouTube the one that they made. In games and practice preparation, what are the kicks that we're going to do? I want to be able to make that 38 from the right action, 42 from the left. I want to be able to make kicks under pressure because there's so many guys that are great when you're up by 50 and there's no pressure. You can kick field goals. I could do that all day. But how about if you're down by 2, it's a one possession game where you have to have it. Can we have those kickers just to go out and do their job and treat those game situations like they do in practice and training? And my big thing for field goal kickers is being accountable to that process. It's the footwork, it's the drills, it's working both hashes, it's working with the holder and the long snapper to clean up the operation and to work with the elements, not just be guys that just want to kick with the wind or just kick on perfect turf. It's, can we be able to control what we do so we can knife the ball through the wind? Can we make clean contact cut through the ball so we're not going to get under it, we're not going to be short when we need a longer kick? And can we put our kickers in situations in practice where they have to experience this pressure and have consequences on the line, and they have to experience both success and failure? So you understand it's important play, but it's play and it's part of the 140 in the game. And for a lot of our guys, it's accountable to how they start their practice, from simple as a stance to warming up their adductors are going to the swing, to using their upper bodies. And as kickers go along more advanced level, it's more of a body kick instead of just a leg kick. And the guys that struggle just kick with leg speed and their groin. The guys that do better, as one that you had in Kieran, they kick with all elements of their body. They know what to do with their plant. They know what to do with their arms and their eyes. And it's consistent. They can replicate it. And I'll ask my kickers every kick we go, trying to make our process look the same.
Question for you, sort of just as the kickers, quite often when you talk about field goals, the kickers are on the sidelines and then they get called in. Yeah. And so how do they, what any advice you kind of give them to sort of be ready for the moment?
So, for my kickers, I try to have them have a structure on a sideline so they're not becoming fans. So many guys on the other sidelines just watch the game. They're fans with the best seat in their house. After each play, they should go back into the net, whether it's they're in their own end doing a couple punts, if they're in plus territory, they should have a couple swings of full contact so they feel comfortable. And once they get called upon, they shouldn't wait at the sideline for 5 minutes just staring at the uprights, taking it in. They should replicate that process, whether it's a convert, whether it's a field goal, whether it's a field goal in the first quarter, whether it's game-winning field goal. That process on the sideline to prepare should stay the same. Whether they go off on the sidelines after a kick, talk about with their coach, and as they get to plus territory, do 2 to 3 clean ones in the net. And that shouldn't change even when coaches call a timeout. See, kickers just stay out there. Well, that changes their mindset. That changes their process. They should go back and get back to what they're doing and jog out again, where they have to be able to kind of block out the noise. And I always tell my kickers to let the crowd determine the kick. A lot make the mistake by being mesmerized by the uprights, or they look up too early and don't finish the swing. As we can't control the uprights there, we can't control the elements. We have to trust our snapper and holder. We just have to finish what we start, meaning controlling our feet, controlling our arms, working that timing with the snapper and having that mindset to go 1 for 1. And I think a lot of the better kickers do have that in mind, where it's like, hey, I know it's important, but this is a team game. I've experienced both success and failure. I'm going to go out and do my job. And so it looks like 41 left hash, and a lot of times for right-footed kickers, it's an easier hash for them. So the big thing to emphasize is to finish their swing and the finish with their right shoulder, because a lot of times kickers will pop up and almost chip it and it'll drift right. Then the next kick will overcompensate and go around the ball and mid-lap. So the thing I emphasize is, okay, when we stay over, obviously we go when the holder gets his second hand on the ball, but we have to make sure that our first step isn't too aggressive or too big, because then we'll pop up and slow down. If we build up our momentum, we start getting our hip turn on our first step, and we bring our arms and shoulders through, especially on the hashes, because if we don't on this hash, we'll end up missing it to the field post, and that's an easy walking for a guy. And especially context here, it's, Kieran is in a situation where he's been in many situations before, so it's just treating it like every other kick. His upper body's relaxed. He's not mesmerized and staring down the uprights. The holder's looking back at him, communicating, making sure he's ready. You see he has the correct stagger, and he's not 4 or 5 yards off the ball. A lot of kickers make a mistake. They're 4, 5, 6 yards. Too much space, too much time. We want to be able to flow in with a step-up plant and finish. So.
And it is a game-winning kick attempt, just for the context, just to reiterate that.
How important is it to ignore the noise, coach, in that situation?
I think it's like, especially, in training camp, you see coaches, put the guys around them or have sprints on the line or have guys get in their gearbox a little bit, where it gives them a tool where they have to block it out. They have to block out the noise. It's going to be there. The crowd is just noise. You can't hear people, what they're saying specifically. They got to get used to, okay, I got to block it out and focus. What do I have to do? I can't control what people are saying. I can't control the opponents are talking trash. What is my job? Like, I'm out here, I'm paid just to do my job and just do it. And, once the ball goes off her foot, it goes off her foot. So he does a good job here. Eyes are down. He brings that left arm through. You see his follow through going above hip height. He'll bring the right shoulder through, and he finishes past the tee. I always emphasize with a guy, finish through contact. We can't stop at contact. We got to finish and be clean. And if we hit a good ball, we can live with it. This is going to happen, but we can't live with uneven contact. So he does a great job there of timing's good. As soon as the holder gets his second hand, he goes. He doesn't wait too long. He doesn't jump his first step. Eyes are down, clean, operation. Nobody's even close. Gets more than enough height, right down the middle, and there's no doubt, right? And yeah, he's excited, but he expected to make that kick because of preparation.
See if we can see anything different from the tight here.
The same idea, right? Especially left hash, and we know under center we have to follow through because you don't want to drift right. It's a game-winning field goal, especially last play of the game. Most important part is protection, not coverage. So our guys are down, being extra aggressive. His eyes are tucked. In field goal kickers, our upper body, our shoulders and hips help create torque to get through the ball. So you can see that. He gets over the ball, shoulders over the toes, eyes down, swing through. And the line goes where the hip goes. His hip finishes right to the middle post, and that's where the ball travels.
Let's go on to the next one. Another, game-winning field goal attempt here, Coach.
Yeah, and sometimes too, guys at the beginning, at the middle of the field, uprights think, well, it's too big. I can, the uprights are huge. I can just finesse it and look up and not be technically sound. Here, it's making sure our guys are dialed in that, hey, the uprights are straight. I do have wiggle room, but my goal is to stay patient and finish my swing, especially if we're inside 35. Some guys have a tendency to finesse it. I don't want to change my swing. I want to hit it through the end zone like I do a convert. I want to hit the same like I do a 41 or a 52. So he does a good job here, right? The ref whistles it in to make sure he's patient. The holder looks back at him. He sees his target. Then his eyes go down. He doesn't look at the target again. He only needs to see it once. His upper body's relaxed. The holder communicates. And you see he's patient. Now he's gone. Both hands hit. He's through, eyes are tucked, brings the left over, brings it right through, and he finishes through the block. He doesn't stop at contact. He follows through. His momentum takes him through the kick. You could see he pivots off his plant. We call it vertical, so he can get his hip and posterior chain through the field goal. And he gets more than enough height. Some guys get the problem of getting under it, getting too much height too early, so the ball dies. So we need to drive that parabolic motion. So as we go, the ball's slowly rotating, but it's hitting with lots of velocity. Because the farther we go out, if we get too much too early, the ball's going to die. So he does a great job doing that. He gets through. His timing's great. Line doesn't deviate, and that would have been good from 50 plus. Yeah, and he's nice and relaxed. You could tell the special teams puts lots of time into it. The splitting great. The snapper, great tuck. The holder does a good job of communicating with them. They're nice and relaxed. Kieran's upper body's relaxed. Now he goes. He's a consistent jab. And swings consistent. He rotates well. He doesn't change the process because of context. It looks like exactly like the other kick. His eyes are down, brings his left arm through, right right arm, left arm over, right arm through, and he finishes the kick, and he keeps his eyes down. He sees contact. He doesn't pop up and hope it goes in. And, he hits it right over the fence down the middle. What we expect of him.
One more here to watch, Coach, and this one's from a little farther out. So, some thoughts on this one.
Yeah, first of all, I think, I tell guys you have to be able to hit the 30s, the 40s, and all that consistently if they're going to give you an opportunity at a 53. And you have to do that in practice and in game. And obviously, context plays a part of it. Some elements play a part of it too. But, one thing that we do with our guys is that over the summer and over training that we'll train them from distances well above 50 into the 60s to lengthen out their leg. Because if they had a 60 or 70 in practice, in game time, you're probably taking an average of 7 to 10 yards away. So as we go farther out, we focus on getting width in the finish. Some guys make a mistake the farther out they go. They try to hit it hard, and they duck the ball, they shank the ball. The idea is to stay patient. The idea of first step, instead of climbing as much, we get more width. We start opening up our hip on the first step. So as we plant, we're just finishing our rotation. And the goal is to cut up the ball the same, about 1/3 up like we do, and to finish more emphatically with the upper body. And understand it's more about the push. It's like punting into the wind. It's more about the push than the pop, because it's going to drive more so we can maximize the velocity on a slowly rotating ball. And we have to understand context. Obviously, the guys know the responsibility cover lanes, but here it's, especially left hash, we tell our kicker to make sure you get your width on your first step and you're ripping your shoulder and your right hip through. We have to finish our kick and drive it through and climb the ball at about the 30, 35-yard point.
All right, let's see the rep here.
Great hole, and you see a great timing. You see him turning and following through, especially the farther out we have to go. That backswing has really got to be up by a lower back, and we really have to finish. He needs about 1.5 to 2 yards past the block. So we have to finish through contact to maximize the velocity of our torque in our upper body. And that's what he does there. And he uses his left arm to bring his upper body across, his right arm to bring it through to get the posterior chain through the kick. And you can see he made good contact, had more than enough lag, and then the ball didn't over-rotate. And especially like from the hashes, you're adding anywhere from 3 to 7 yards because we're not just right down the middle. So, and the goal for aiming points where the hashes is the inside, the opposite post, right? So he's not trying to aim for the middle post. He's giving himself a little leeway, but he's trying to aim just a little inside, like the right middle here on the right hash, the left middle. So he does a really good job of giving himself some room so he can turn and finish and staying patient, not peeking. And he's nice and relaxed. And, obviously that's something, hey, if he's done it in practice consistently, he'll get the opportunity to show it in a game. Some guys can't do it in practice. Why are you going to throw him in a game where it's going to be failure? So nice and relaxed, the upper body. He's got a nice flow and swing. Eyes are tucked, jabs, first step short, he gets width. Then he turns into it. If he was just using his groin, he would have swept the ball. So he's staying over. It's consistent. Now he can accelerate into the plant, pivot off it, and turn his arms into it while keeping his head over. His head's the last thing that goes through. Brings his right arm through, and his hip is directed right into the middle of the upright. So his hip goes where the ball's ultimately going to go. And, plenty of room to spare. And, no matter win or no win, cool day on the East Coast, it's a pretty impressive field goal.